Spellbound, Chapter 23. Jasper Hagg was reading in bed when a guard escorted Hope in. His cell looked like a fantasy college dorm, complete with an Xbox, Wii, laptop, and a high-def TV. Of course, the computer wasn't hooked up to an external network, and even his e-book reader couldn't download anything from the outside world. But it didn't look like the kind of accommodations you expect from the man who killed two of Benacio's sons. Kai was right. Any need for revenge Benicio felt was superseded by his need to uncover whatever a revolutionary and supernatural secrets were locked in Jazz's DNA. The problem was that studying Jazz's physical makeup wasn't enough. They had to study his transformations and discover what triggers allowed him to reshape his features. That couldn't be done without his consent. So for 4 years, Jazz and his captors had been locked in this weird relationship of control and reward. And Jazz lived like the proverbial canary in a gilded cage, letting everything except two things he wanted most: freedom and hope. Why was Jazz obsessed with hope? What makes the heart latch onto one person and refuse to let go? I wish I knew. In Hope, Jazz thought he found his perfect partner, someone who loved chaos as much as he did. They had met when Benicio had asked Hope to infiltrate a Miami gang of supernaturals. Jazz and his brother Jason, known as Sonny, had seemed like just two ordinary members. They befriended her, and Jazz fell for her, and I think maybe Hope fell a little in return. So Kyle came back into her life and swept aside all the competition. And then she discovered what Jazz really was: a murderous psychopath. It had been 3 years since they'd seen each other, yet when that door opened, Jazz's grin was so big and so bright that Hope faltered in her tracks. I couldn't blame her. It was a heart stopper of a smile, and Jazz was a gorgeous guy, with black curls and deep green eyes. Jazz started to scramble off the bed. One of the guards lifted his hand. You know the routine, Jasper. Stand on the other side of the bed and place your hands behind your back. Hope laid her fingers on the guard's arm. That won't be necessary. We're under orders. Call Mr. Cortez. I'm sure he'll agree. He did, and Benicio did, and Kyle said nothing, namely because they already hashed this one out. Now they were only playing their parts. When the guards left, Hope walked to a chair. She dressed in a flowing peasant shirt with a strategically draped scarf, trying to hide her pregnancy. He isn't fooled, I murmured. I know, Benicio said. The way he watched her, his gaze intent, told me Jazz would notice any change in her, however slight. It doesn't seem to be bothering him, I said. It won't, Kyle said, his gaze glued to Jazz with the same intensity. A trial would simply be a minor obstacle to him, one easily overcome. Easily gotten rid of, he meant, and when I looked back at Jazz, I knew Kyle was right. I understood why he wanted him dead. Yes, Kyle feared for his child's life, and yes, he feared losing Hope. But more than that, he knew that if Jazz ever got Hope, he finally realized he'd never have her, not the way he wanted. If he couldn't have her, no one else would. He'd take away everything she loved, and when she didn't love him instead, he killed her. How much longer until you have what you need from him? I asked Benicio. Soon. You should speed that up, I said. Give Hope one less thing to worry about. Kyle glanced over. His expression said he wasn't sure if I meant it or was just trying to win points. I wasn't. If it was me, I want Jazz dead. The sooner the better. I turned back to the video feed. So you want to speak to me? Jazz said to Hope. I did. Let me guess. Carl Marston isn't doing it for you anymore. When it comes to chaos, he's a wine spritzer. It worked for a while, but you need something stronger. She offered a manic smile. Would you believe that? I believe it's the truth. But would I believe you figured it out already? No. I didn't think so. Benicio glanced at Kyle. What's she doing? Going off script? It would appeared odd, really. She unusually followed orders so well. I stifled a laugh. She better know what she's doing, Benicio said. She unusually does. Carl said. We turned back to the video screen. Jazz had slid off the bed and was pulling the chair over to Hope. She tensed, and I could tell she was fighting the urge to ease back. "You've changed," he said, "and I don't just mean that." A dismissive wave of her stomach. "Yes, I can tell you're pregnant. You look like shit, Hope. He's not taking care of you. Well, I'm sure he's trying, but he has no idea how. And you do." "Of course I do. First thing, I never tie you down with a squalling brat. That's what he's doing, you know. Tying you to him. He knows he can't hold on to you otherwise, so he's got to throw on all the ropes he can. First, a wedding ring, then a baby, then more babies, making it harder and harder for you to leave." Hope said nothing, glanced over at Carl, but his expression was unreadable. "But you have changed," Jazz said. "You're calmer, more centered. You're not as conflicted about the chaos, learning to live with it, learning to feed it. I'm managing." But not lately. He eased his chair forward. "It isn't the baby wearing you down, is it?" Hope shook her head, then looked up at him. "You know why I'm here and what it means. They know about the plan, so you aren't going to get where you've been promised. No? Damn. And it seemed like such a good plan, too." He grinned and rested his elbows on his knees, leaning forward until her curls brushed his face. "Did it seem like a good plan to you, Hope?" "Not particularly, but if you were desperate enough, you might bite." He lifted his face to hers, and Hope's hands clenched at her side. But he only hovered there, his face so close to hers they had to be touching. "I'm not that desperate," he said, "not that stupid, not that gullible, and not about to become a pawn in someone else's scheme. I have my own." His lips brushed hers as she jerked back, but he almost settled into his chair and grinned. "Sorry, couldn't resist. Now let's talk about the plan. That's the point of this reunion, isn't it? The plan. The plan, a ridiculous plan, but that's the point, is it? It must be the point, otherwise there is no point. You're losing me, Jazz." "Am I?" "I don't think I am. I think you're tired. I think all this talk about kidnapping and oracles and prophecies has your brain spinning, and you don't know where to focus. But when you get past all the noise, you'll know where to focus. On the plan." I looked at Benicio. What the hell is he talking about? "He's crazy," Carl said, "a small matter that some people like to forget." Hope doesn't seem fazed. She must have seen the side of Jazz before, and only settled back in her chair, watching him. "Their plan," she said. "They said they want to free you as a sign, proof of some prophecy coming true. But they're going to do too much trouble for just that. They have a bigger scheme, don't they?" Jazz shot her a blazing grin. Everyone does, especially you. I have my moments, and you have a plan. One that may or may not coincide with theirs, at least not past the point where they help you. Whatever do you mean?" He arched his breath, but couldn't stop grinning. She knew he was up to something, and he was pleased she knew him so well. "So what's the plan?" Hope asked. "Theirs, I mean. I know you won't tell me yours. Why do they want you?" "They didn't say, but you think you know. I'm valuable in so many ways." Leaped toward her, lips brushing hers again. She jumped. He did too, leaping to his feet and pacing, his voice taking on that maniac rhythm again. "Old Ben wants to know how they plan to spring me. Tell him I'm disappointed. I thought he was smarter than that. He's built me a cage from which I cannot escape." He banged his fist on the wall. "I'm mounting the metal box with a dozen metal boxes, layer upon layer of security. How do I get myself out? I can't." "Someone has to get you out," Hope said. "Correct, but who? Who could set me free?" "It must be one of my visitors. No way, I'm not allowed any." "Then it must be the woman who brings my food and cleans my kennel." "No way, I can't get a waitress or maid. I want to get guards, and they're all hand-picked. Special guards for special prisoners, all family men, who know that if I get out, the cabal will retaliate. Might make sure one of their little kitties suffers a horrible accident, so it wouldn't be them. Who else do I see? Who else could set me free? The scientists. And you're fine with telling me this, because Benicio can't afford to get rid of them all. They're a lot more valuable than guards. He has to negotiate with you to get a name." Jazz swooped in and grabbed Hope under the arms, swinging her off her chair before she had time to blink. "See, this is why I love you. You know exactly how my mind works because yours works the same way. She struggled to get free. Jazz put his hand under her chin, lifted it, and kissed her. Not a quick brush of the lips this time, but a real kiss, deep and hard. At a crack from across the room, I tore my gaze from the screen to see Kyle yanking on the door. Open this goddamn door, he snorted at Benicio. Or, am I pissing you off yet, Kyle? Jazz yelled from inside his cell. I turned back to the screen. Hope had gotten free and retreated across the room. Jazz was scanning the ceiling. What's the matter, Kyle? He called. Old Ben not letting you come to the rescue? Don't worry. I'm sure he's opening the door right about now. The door flew open. Benicio followed Kyle out, saying, Calm down, Kyle. We'll get her out. She's not in any danger. In his cell, Jazz kept talking. Behind him, Hope fussed with her scarf, tugging at it anxiously. You shouldn't have left me alone with her, Jazz said. Do you know how fast I could fix her little pregnancy problem? Faster than you could get in here and stop me. One good punch, he swung his hand back and she'd be freed from. Hope kicked him in the back of the knees. As he dropped, the scarf went around his neck. She twisted it and jammed her foot into his back for leverage. I faced up the car and Menacillo and caught up fast as the guards flew into Jackson's cell, with 2 men behind them. Hope, Menacillo said. You don't want to do that. Oh, yes, I do, she said. Her face was twisted, eyes glowing, and at that moment I didn't see sweet, quiet Hope. I saw the demon. Everyone stopped in their tracks, everyone except Kyle. He barreled past and took the scarf from her hand, saying, We've got this, and in another second, Hasper Jag would have been dead. But that split second was all it took for the security guards to recover a rushed car before he could get that final wrench. They pulled Jazz out of his reach and turned the car, guns lifted. He waved them aside, picked up Hope, and carried her out the door. As Benicio called for a doctor to tend to Hope, Jazz rose, rubbing his throat and wincing. I think she likes you, I said. He looked at me, hesitated as if to say, Who the hell are you? But he didn't. Only flashed that disarming grin and said, I made her mad. I deserved it, and I wouldn't expect anything less. That's why I loved her, he turned to Menacillo. So, Ben, when do I get to see her again? I was hoping we could play a board game. Trouble. I bet she likes that one. Benicio ignored him. You think I'm joking? Jazz said. You forget I know which of your scientists has turned traitor on you. You'll want to know that information. You'll also want to know about the top secret project he's working on, with your equipment and your resources. Some of your other scientists too, I bet. For that, I'm going to expect more FaceTime with Hope. A lot more. Benicio waved me from the room and followed without a word to Jazz. Carl had taken Hope to the lounge where I rested. When I got there, he was arguing with a doctor. I was about to withdraw when he noticed me. You, he said, get back here. She has a name, Hope murmured. Hey, Savannah, good show, huh? She tried to smile, but it was strained. I want Jeremy, Kyle said, and Elena. Find them and bring them here. I don't need, Hope began. Savannah. Yes, sir, I said, and retreated.